Hey, I'm Jadamin.
And I'm Latresa, and welcome to Hey Sista podcast.
As the name suggests, we're sisters.
Not like best friend sisters or like cute outfit sisters.
But like came from the same womb sisters.
And the same.
Well, you get the picture. Not only are we sisters, but we are both entrepreneurs living and working in one of the most fast-paced,
competitive,
and expensive cities in America.
Native to the 717, we are young, creative professionals,
sharing our stories as we journey through the ups and downs,
ins and outs,
and thicks and thins of life in New York City. When and why did we move to New York City? And what do we do professionally?
Should I go first since I've been here longest? Or
I guess longest wins.
Oh gosh. Okay, so I moved to New York in 2007, and I originally moved here to pursue an acting career. I went to Pace University for a year and a half. Actually, I majored in theater. Acting. I was pursuing a BFA in acting. And I knew, though, that I wanted to focus more on film and TV, so I didn't stay there long because their program only offered mostly theater classes, and I wanted to really get a hands-on experience in film and TV before actually going into the industry. So I ended up transferring after a year and a half to the School of Film and Television, which is it was called SFT. I'm not sure what it's called now. But that is why I moved to New York City. What about you, Sista?
Well, I moved here recently. More recently than Sista over here, who's a veteran. I moved here in 2019, right after grad school. I studied fashion at SCAD in Atlanta. And I got a job right before graduating, and they offered me a position. And so I moved directly to New York after graduating. So I've been here maybe 2 years now, and it's been interesting. I came to work in the industry as a fashion designer, but now I'm working as an entrepreneur on my own brands, and it's totally different than what I expected.
Y'all hear she said brands with an S?
Brands,
multiple brands.
I'm trying. That's all we can say. It's been fun. A lot of challenges, a lot of different things happening, a lot of changes. And so that goes into like what the expectations were. Like, what were your expectations versus your realities?
I started off pursuing an acting career, but actually right now I'm also an entrepreneur, and I have one brand. I am a videographer, an editor, and a producer, like a production coordinator. I've been doing that since 2017. So I have a couple of years into that, and my company is called Phenomenal Woman Media Group.
Okay, plug. You better.
So when I first moved to New York to become an actress, I was like, I'm not even going to get out of school good before I land my big role and move to Los Angeles. That was honestly... I'm like, audition who? I'm going to be a star. Like, that was what was in my mind. That was going to happen for me. It was a long journey. I didn't expect to bartend. Like, I never saw myself as a bartender, but once I graduated from acting school, I had to make money because New York is expensive. So I ended up bartending. I went to New York bartending school for 6 weeks, and I got my bartender certification. I went on Craigslist and started looking for bartender positions. It took me 13 interviews before I got a job.
Wow.
So I was not expecting that, but that ended up working out really well with my schedule because, it was easy to request off work or have somebody switch shifts and be able to be available to like go on auditions and things like that. So it was flexible, but I did not expect it to be so like soul sucking. At the same time, like the money was good, but I bartended for 6 years in total. So after like the first 2.5, I was done.
Wow. Just physically?
Physically, even, yeah, like I guess mostly just physically, because I was working 12-hour shifts, like my body was tired, and just the people I was working with, like they were cool, but like the management was horrible. And that just, the morale and stuff comes from the head. So when the head is jacked up, it just makes for a bad experience. In 2016, after I had been bartending for 6 years, at that point I had been a manager for 1 year, and I was just all types of drained, mentally, physically, emotionally. So I just left. I just took a leap of faith, quit my restaurant job, never looked back. But that was the hardest year of my life. So that kind of gets into like what my realities became. Not having money for transportation, like riding my bike all over the city. Like I rode my bike one time from the top of West Harlem all the way to Long Island City. So that was like an hour and a half or something like that, bike ride.
Oh, no,
maybe.
ma'am. No, ma'am.
And I did that there and back. It got really bad financially. Like I couldn't pay my rent, barely had food to eat. Like it got really bad. I remember at one point I went to the grocery store and to buy like some pasta or something like that. And after I had bought that pasta, I think I had like 11 cents left to my name.
Wow.
So it got like bad. And that was a reality I was never expecting to face. But I kept going, and I'm here now, and I overcame like all of those things to be where I'm at now. I never expected to be a videographer. Never thought I would be behind the camera, because I started out in front of the camera. But I still really feel fulfilled creatively, which is one thing that I really enjoy. I never thought I would do anything other than be an actress. But it's really hard trying to get to a level where you can actually pay your bills and sustain yourself as a full-time actor. Like, it's really hard. It's really hard. I was tired of being broke and tired. As the years were going on, I'm like, this is not how I want to live my life. Like broke and struggling and having multiple jobs, running around, never vacationing, never being able to go home back to Pennsylvania and spend time with my family for fear of, missing an audition. Or it was just like, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Yeah. And on that note, like on the outside looking in, like seeing you go through that time of, we would all get home and we would be hanging out, and you would be like, my agent just called me, or there's an audition at this time and I'm going to go back early. And I was like, wow, she is really going for it. Like this I was really happy for you. I was really excited for you, because we never knew what the outcome would be. And so we were just waiting in anticipation to like hear like what happened, what was going on. And when it did work out, we were like really excited, but also seeing you when it didn't work out, you just had this like, dang, I could have stayed home longer. Yeah. That was always your response to it if it didn't work out. Like, dang, I could have spent more time with my family.
Yes. And that's one thing that got annoying, that it was really annoying, because I would always leave early. I'll be like, oh, I'm home for a week or something now. And then like day 4 comes and I'm like, oh, I gotta go back tomorrow. That's another hard part is, it's a lot of rejection. And yeah, you can get over rejection, but it's a lot of rejection often. And when it is something that you want so bad and you don't have anything else, like a lot of actors have full-time jobs. A lot of actors have degrees and full-time corporate jobs, to where if they don't get that audition, it's not affecting whether they eat that day or not. Mm-hmm. But like when you're trying to just be a full-time artist, it's just a whole different ball game. And you get so worked up about auditions, and then when you don't get them, it's just like devastating. So it's a lot mentally too to pursue an acting career.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah. So what about you, sister? What were some of your expectations when you moved here from Atlanta?
I feel like my expectations started when I was really young. Coming to visit you when you were in school, I was like, yes, New York is the place for me. Point blank, period. No question. Like, I'm gonna live here when I get older and I'm gonna love it. The city couldn't do no harm in my mind as a child. And then after getting the job and moving to New York, I was like, you know, I'm just going to have an open mind and it's just going to be the best experience that I've ever had. I'm going to take it day by day. I'm going to explore. I'm just going to see what the city has to offer and go for it. And it was great. I mean, there were a lot of things that I think made the experience much better than I had ever imagined. Like, we got the chance to live together when I first got here. And
that was so fun. We used to bake cookies.
Oh my gosh. So should we sing the song for them?
Yes, ready? 1, 2, 3, go. We selling cookies. Come and get your cookies. Girl Scout cookies. Bake a girl cookies.
Like, y'all.
They're probably like, what just happened? We just had a sister moment. Excuse us.
Hey, sister.
Hey, sister.
So, just to let y'all know what just happened, we would bake cookies. Like, we found that as a bonding experience when we lived together, just to cook together.
Vegan cookies.
Let them know. So we would bake vegan cookies and we just came up with this jingle just because we were having a great time and like just learning more about each other and enjoying finally being able to live together and experience the city together. So when I first got here, it was great. Like, we got a chance to hang out. It was a new place, but my sister was here. It was someone familiar, and I didn't feel like, wow, like I have to figure everything out on my own because she was here. How long were you here before I got here?
You said 2019 you got? So I got here in 2007. So
In 12 years.
Yeah.
So she was like my go-to person for everything. Like, how do you ride the subway? Like, how do I get to this place? Like, where's a good place to eat? Like, all the things she knew. So it was an easier transition because she was like my tour guide. She already had experienced the city for herself.
Oh, sister.
So it was fun. And then I moved on my own, and that came with a whole other set of expectations. We lived in Harlem, and then I moved to Brooklyn. So that was like, what does that look like for me to get to work? My expectations for work were totally different though. When I was in school, the agenda was to be creative, to create original pieces, to be your own person. If it wasn't something new and fresh, then they were like, why did you make that? I've seen this in the store already, so what are we doing here? But when I got to the industry, they were like, there are people around the world and multiple people need to be able to wear this item. We don't care about your creativity. Yes, great. Good job for you. Pat on the back. But it was about making money. Will this sell? What I learned was a designer in school was different from what a designer was in mass market. So it completely changed. My expectations were totally different. The reality hit hard because it was like long hours. We have deadlines to hit. We have market week, CEOs and the C-suite, I guess they call it, the C-suite, the CEO, the CFO, all the C's. They had expectations and we had to reach them, and they had deadlines and we had to reach them. And so it was like, if you need to stay up late, if you need to stay up till 10 to finish this for tomorrow's meeting, then make it happen.
And it's like, am I getting overtime though?
And they was like, boo, you on salary. So
that's so whack.
Yeah. So now, after COVID happened, everything changed. Like, all those things that you thought you had security in, my job that I thought I had security in, that good old health care that I thought I had security in, that check that I was getting paid. All of that seemed so secure. And when COVID hit and I lost my job in September of 2020, then God was like, okay, sis, so next steps are entrepreneurship.
And you know what I think is so crazy about her story is when she first moved here, she was like, yeah, I'm only going to be working in this corporate spot for a year, and then I'm going to have my own business. So I thought that was so crazy because she said that, and literally that's what ended up happening.
Literally.
Nobody knew COVID was going to happen.
Mm-mm.
But that is actually the thing that got her up out of that corporate job. Within the year she said she was going to start her own company. So I was like, wow.
Yeah. God knows.
Mm-hmm. And it's funny too, because like, you know, from my perspective, watching her from the outside, it was like she was so confident when she said that. And then when it actually happened and she got fired, she was like... She was like, what? Like, it took a while for that to actually settle in. And like, we had to remind her, like, Jade, remember when you said you were only going to be there for a year? Like, look.
It was really crazy. The funny thing is, I knew in the back of my mind in 2020 that that year was coming around. But things were so comfortable. You know how you get in a situation and things are so comfortable. You're like, the money is good. Let's just say very good. The benefits are amazing. Like, I'm okay right here. I'm good. Like, I'm really good. And then God is like, remember when you had said, and you like, oh, snap. I definitely did say that. But you know, I'm comfortable. I'm comfortable and I'm okay. Forget what I said back then. God will hold you. Mm-hmm. God will hold you to what you said. Mm-hmm. And he's like, even if I need to give you a little push, it's going to happen.
Yep.
Yeah, it was.
Because we're like, it's a blessing.
And I was like, it's not a blessing. We were like, you punishing me.
We were like, you got fired, yay! And she was like, no. Like, you know, it's crazy because, like, if you think back on that, had that not happened, would Loman Moy be here right now?
I don't think so.
You probably would still be working there.
Yeah. Because I was way too comfortable.
Yeah. That was kind of like me and with my bartending. It's like comfortable financially, but you're miserable.
Yes, mentally.
Yeah.
It was like I was so drained mentally that it was just a struggle to do anything. It was a struggle to interact with people that I saw on a day-to-day basis. Like, it was a struggle to communicate to my team. It was a struggle to get out of bed. It was just so much. I felt like so much pressure was on me to do things. And not that I don't have pressure now as an entrepreneur, but I feel like the pressure that I have now as an entrepreneur is a choice. When you are working for other people, they have their agenda and they have the things that they need to get done. I think sometimes your mental health and your just overall well-being is put on the line because it's like, well, sis, you need to get it together and take one for the team. Mm-hmm. I was like, you know what? I'm really not feeling this. Like, I would call family all the time and be complaining, like, I can't handle this anymore. Like, I just don't want to communicate. Like, this is too much. Like, people are driving me crazy. They have no respect for my time, no respect for anything that I'm doing. Like, I'm doing this one thing over and over and over again, and it's still not to their satisfaction. It was a mess. And I'm like, why am I dealing with this? I have a choice.
That's one thing that I love about being an entrepreneur is that you are on your own time. You make your own schedule. Mm-hmm. And I think even though with that freedom, it's a huge responsibility.
Absolutely.
And one thing that I told myself when I left my restaurant job is that if I put that many hours in for somebody else,
Yep,
I can put at least that many hours in for me, because I was working 4 p.m. to 4 a.m.
Ooh.
at
What?
Yes. If I was putting in those hours on my feet for 3 years, I can definitely give myself that much time.
Yeah.
And my mom was also very instrumental when I left, because she used to be like, when I first told her that I was taking that leap, I was like, Mom, I'm quitting, like, I'm leaving. And she's like, well, what are you going to do? I was like, I'm going to pursue my acting career. She was like, okay, if you're going to do that, you need to be focused. You need to be serious. You need to be focused, and you need to be doing something every day towards reaching your goals. She was like, you need to write down your daily goals, and you need to be checking them off the list every day. So I was like, ooh, my mom's a gangster. Like, she ain't
Mama don't play.
Mama don't play. She said, my baby ain't gonna fail.
She said, we came to win.
Shout out to Mom.
Okay, Mom.
Listen. She was like, I'm gonna call you. Let's pick a day of the week, and I'm gonna call you. Our day was Tuesdays. So she was like, I'm gonna call you every Tuesday, and you're gonna tell me what you did for that week. And then it got to the point where, like, Tuesday would come and I would give her an update on what I did for that week. And she would be like, wow, that's a lot of stuff. And I'm grateful, because that year I was so focused. So let's just say, like, from that summer 2016 to maybe like that winter, I put in a lot of footwork. And most of my clients that I have now in my videography and editing company are people that I met that year.
Wow. I think that says something. I don't know, just to hit this home. Like, I feel like in the age of social media, you see people and you see them after they reached a certain level, and you're like, wow, how did they get there? And you don't really see people putting in the work. Like, you don't get to experience people in their element of putting in the work.
Yep.
People see the aftermath and they're like, okay, entrepreneurship, that's where I want to be. Boss lady.
Yep. No, that's so real.
And to see that your clients came from that moment where you were just putting in so much work and going through struggle at the same time.
So much struggle.
So much struggle.
The realest struggle I've been in my life.
And now those customers have stayed with you.
And I didn't even launch my company till 2017.
Okay.
Yep. So those are people that I just met, putting myself in spaces. I was going to women's conferences, but that were centered around like film and TV and music and podcasting. I was going to like women in business, like meetups and stuff like that, like meeting other business women. So that was 2016 when I met them. I launched my company in 2017. And now it's 2021, and I'm working with those people from 2016. So,
y'all, the network.
The network is real. It's real. For real. So shout out to all my day ones.
Hey, day one, A1 from 2016. Where you at? Okay, so what we currently do. What's our day-to-day like? I currently have 2 small businesses. Both are super new, and so both of them I'm trying to get established. But the first one is Loam and Moy, and this is like my baby brand.
What does Loam and Moy stand for?
I'm glad you asked. So Loam and Moy is an acronym for less of me and more of you, and it's inspired by the scripture John 3:30, in which John the Baptist says, he must become greater, I must become less. So it is a fashion brand inspired by stories from the Bible, and it's really about showing humility and glorifying God through fashion. I lost my job September 15th, 2020. I always say I went from assistant designer to CEO overnight.
Yes! Finger snaps!
Hey!
Yes!
Hallelujah! I started Loam and Moy. It was an idea. I had been working on it while I was working in my corporate job. After I got let go, after a few tears, The next day, I woke up refreshed. I was like, let's get started on this fashion brand. And it was born. Like, I started going hard day one, building my network, talking to as many people as I could, doing research, attending webinars, anything you can think of. I was like, let me do this because I want this brand to be a success. Like, God placed this on my heart to do it. And so let's go hard. Like, I already lost my job, I already lost all the benefits. What is there to lose? So what about you, Sista? What are you currently working on?
I'm so proud of my sister, by the way. Hey, sister, I'm proud of you, sister.
Thank you, sister.
My production company is called Phenomenal Woman Media Group. What my day-to-day kind of looks like right now is I'm mostly in front of my computer. Except for when I have a shoot. But that's really fun. My clients live in all different boroughs. So sometimes I'm in Brooklyn, sometimes I'm in the Bronx, sometimes I'm in Harlem. Like, I get to kind of explore. Last week I was in Tarrytown, New York.
Oh, wow.
Never been there. Hackensack or something. I know I'm probably saying that so wrong. I don't know. But I know that the Metro North stop was Tarrytown. So that was really fun. I work on all different kind of projects. Like, sometimes I'm filming talk shows. Sometimes I'm filming short films. Sometimes it's just like a teaser or a trailer for like a series. Or I also film docuseries, commercials.
She does it all, ladies and gentlemen. She does it all.
Hey Sista podcast is brought to you by the owners of Loam & Moy and Phenomenal Woman Media Group. Our mission is to share our stories about the realities of entrepreneurship and to help you along your journey to becoming your own boss.
Whether you're a newbie, advanced, or somewhere in between, we want to remind you that you are not alone. We hope to encourage you and give you insight as you navigate through the uncertainties of this unique and rewarding lifestyle. Join us on Patreon to get VIP access to behind-the-scenes exclusives and special perks by going to www.patreon.com/Hey Sista Podcast. Thanks for listening. See you next time. Oh, you thought that was the end of the conversation? Head over to Patreon to hear the extended version.